Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It is Wednesday evening. I still don't know what I'm doing for introductions, but we're glad that if you were here before and you've returned, great. And if you're a first timer, great. Also, welcome. Hope you stick around. Um, Today's session 6 of Reclamation. I would say we're moving along pretty swimmingly, and I think each session is progressively getting better. But maybe that's just because I'm running it and responsible for it. But yeah, so tonight, really no particular announcements or anything or crazy to note. We'll actually be using the battle map cam tonight, which I need to still finish working on because it's like a holdover of the original design I was going to use for the stream, and then it turned. Then this is the new one that I ended up making, which I like a lot better. So the one just needs to be tightened up a little. So yeah, just bear with me if you go, man, why does this look so not good? That's why. And eventually, I promise I'll also update the the overlay for the character stats because I forgot. Just that's the answer. I forgot that I had to input all the data and change them all. But that'll be done soon. Also, since I'm saying that, players, if you have a change of title, for your epithet, by all means, pass it along to me so I can make sure that's included. Like I know Titan had a very dramatic one that will be showing up.
Yeah, me and my edgelord ways.
Yeah, it's a perfectly fine. Again, just imagine the order of magnitude in which the edginess could have been had Lotus perished in the escape, right? Like, so by comparison, this is really not bad. Could be worse.
Could have been much worse.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. So bullet points 1 and 2. Because we gathered together a little bit later than normal, because time ran away from at least me. Who would like to do the recap?
Thanks for volunteering, Ben.
Like, well, a few seconds of silence almost always means me.
Yeah.
No worries. So we've arrived at the refugee camp, and it was kind of next morning stuff. Everybody who signed up with the mercenaries went and talked to their families about the fact that they went and signed up with the mercenaries. Different families had different opinions on it, but ultimately everyone accepted that for the most part, you guys are adults and can do what you want. Next morning, Titan and Corona had a bit of a discussion, and both glad that they're going to be going on this journey together, and Titan's not going to be an idiot and just try to do it by himself. And then we went and got equipment, and Roz, Lilith, and Audie all went for what was went to check the prices of baths at the brothel.
Mm-hmm.
Was the excuse. So they went in. Hilarity and hijinks ensued. Roz is definitely not a virgin. We learned that. And we also learned that the brothel office offers free services to mercenaries after they complete a job. Free basic services. You have to pay for the good stuff. We attended the morning meeting, got a bit of information on recon on what's happening in the armies, or in the war, I should say, and then we went off to train. We had various trainers who were attentive to our individual needs. It was really good, and it was nice because the trainers were good, despite the general prevailing attitude of the mercenaries being that we're bad and probably dangerous to their health. And yeah, I think that's about everything. Like I said, everybody kind of got their moments. Audie was told that she does indeed have magic and should work to control it. But we kind of left it off there. Audie got her moment with the trainers, and we were kind of in the air as to whether anybody else wanted to have, a moment of discovery for themselves. That's what I remember.
Pretty good. Anybody have anything they want to add? Or perhaps any highlights from any out-of-game, in-character role-playing that was done that is important or vital?
I think we tried to keep the out-of-character, out-of-game role-playing stuff
Mostly just
less
flavor.
significant this time.
I'd agree with that.
Soap opera got a name this time, though.
Uh-huh.
Yes. I have dubbed it The Great and the Small, an Eldarth tale. Bold and the Beautiful, all those other kitschy names.
Okay. If that's all, we will begin again. If there are no complaints, I will be starting you all on the following day of the training session, unless you would like sometime the day of. The training did lapse over the course of the entire day itself, ending shortly after dinner. So if there's anything you would want to do at that time, tell me now.
I'm good.
Same.
Great. In which case, we will move on to the 25th. Wherein you are experiencing a lovely, humid 20-degree day, high winds, the lovely smell of the outhouse trenches billowing over the camp, really giving you that nice pep in your step to wake up to.
Degrees. It's a warm day.
Yeah, it's really important to note that the difference between where you all are from compared to where you all are now is worlds apart. You quite literally went to the furthest part of the continent from where you used to be, which is all the way north.
Right.
So you went all the way south, and Saphinus is, by comparison, tropical. So if anything, this is actually a pretty, much more on the mild day for them, because it's still that transition between winter to spring. But when you get into the full swing of spring, it's going to get much warmer.
Yeah, this was a bit of a shock to the system, I'm sure. At least for Titan, it would be. He was going from -10 to +20. 30-degree sway is huge.
Yeah, but especially for those who are well acclimated to colder weather and are used to living in it.
Yeah.
The camp comes to life. Breakfast is served in all of its, gray-brown glory. You have your mornings to yourselves. I suppose it's important to ask, because it is an assumption we make in the narrative that you all would have collaboratively decided on a mission to select. Are you doing that this morning, or would that have been over the campfire the night before?
I think that there was probably, we went and looked at the missions, and there's probably some discussion, and then this morning, after everybody slept on it, is when the decision was made.
Okay.
That makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly fine.
I think we were all a bit spent after the day, to be honest.
No.
Okay. Is there anything anyone would like to do prior to me setting you up to mission ready?
I suppose, knowing what we know about the mission, do we know if it'll be like a multi-day thing? Will we need to pack tents? You know, that kind of thing. Will we know that?
The mission briefing would have told you that they're essentially expecting you to go and observe from anywhere between 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
Just to get a temperature on what the movements look like, if you can gather any like specific intelligence, if you can do any eavesdropping, any word of mouth things that are being spread amongst the bandits, etc.
Okay. Then just for the party's knowledge, Corona did buy a 2-person tent. Hopefully she's not the only one that bought tents, but she'll be bringing hers along if we're going to be staying potentially more than one night over there.
Titan will bring his, but he warns everybody that there's not much room in his 2-person tent.
Okay. If there are no specific needs or wants, you all could collectively decide when to start your mission, but I'm going to assume you probably wouldn't dally too long. So I'd probably say, again, you get up, casual light conversation with family, breakfast, you spend some time, eating, get together, talk about what the plan is, over breakfast, weigh it out, probably takes you like the better course of an hour. So I'd probably say around like 9 a.m., you all head towards Covert's central office, if you will, the wooden stand with the desk in the center of the camp.
That sounds about right.
Okay. And so if there are no complaints, you will arrive there. Covert is at his desk, standing with a ledger he's holding in one hand and a quill in the other, currently jotting away. And there are several other smaller groups of unaffiliated mercenaries there. You can see he's quickly just sort of taking information, exchanging things. And then you can tell, like, because his elevated position, he's giving directions, like, go down the lane, go right, and, head that direction. And you can see people kind of gather that and just head off. Amongst the group of unaffiliated mercenaries, you do see 2 that you're familiar with, and it appears as if, at the very least, they've teamed up for today, which is both Viren and Jace, 2 other members of Greenwood. They are likewise bedecked in their new mercenary armor and decked out in weapons and armor, packs and bags, and they're currently kind of waiting their turn in line.
Vera and Jace, you guys are out on a mission?
Jace turns towards you because you are not. Yeah, we've picked up some wolf hunting in farmlands to the west. Viren seems well suited for it, so figured let him do what he's good at, and I'll just keep him safe so we don't get snuck up on. It'll be nice and tidy work.
Very good. Glad to hear you guys are doing it. We briefly considered it ourselves.
Well, it seems silly to not use Viren's talents. It's what he's good at. And Viren is being a little bit quiet, not like directly conversing, just letting Jace do all the talking. He seems focused.
Titan just smiles. Good luck out there, guys.
Yeah, same to you. And they get called up. There's a brief exchange with Covert, and then you see Covert repeat the directions that he's given to the others before you. And you see them, head off towards the, heading through the north, the central lane towards the north. And you wait for like one other group, and then eventually Covert calls you up. All right. My second group of Greenwoodians, Wooders. Do you guys have a name for yourselves? Like, what do
Do
you,
we have a name for ourselves?
what do you guys, like,
As-
Yeah,
Audie
do
just-
we have a name for ourselves?
I was gonna say, I think Audio just like gives him like an eyebrow, like gives him a funny look, like, we're just from Greenwood. You're not from Greenwood. You're from away, and if you're from, do people have special names for the places?
I mean, like, some people have names based off of, like, where they're from, you know? I'm just curious. I don't know, just green, Woodians doesn't really roll off the tongue. I was just asking. It also helps me refer to you all as a collective body, especially if you're going to continue working together. So just consider. It doesn't need to be anything special, just, so that way I just don't call you mercenary group number 12,
Give us the mission, and I think we'll find something to call ourselves along the way. Something good, something nice, something cool.
All right, sure. Well, you guys read the synopsis. He tears a page out of the ledger and then just kind of like, he will then sort of extend his hand, and a mage hand will just kind of peel off of his outer hand, carrying the page down to whoever's up front to take it. All right. You guys read the summation. You're going into what is considered relatively hostile territory. Utgard is kind of, wildlands right now. It's lawless. The Shelseer, have been doing their best to try to keep the larger groups from wandering too far. But, you guys lived on the northern side of the continent and pretty far east. I'm sure you probably ran into enough bandit trouble to know that it's harder than it sounds. The point is, though, if we want to try to get a foothold back from where y'all are from, we have to make sure that we're not going to suddenly be fighting a war on two fronts, both from the enemies from the east and the west. So basically, we're going to be sending you along a stretch of the Merchant's Path in the north to go look at some towns and see the state they're in, if there's anybody there. If you do find civilians, refugees, I'll get to that in a second. Your goal is you need to find a group or several groups of bandits, and you need to try to gather as much information you can about the rumors and things that are being passed along between them to see if they are making any collective maneuvers to continue heading further east, since it will be much more difficult to control them now with a proper war brewing further east. Any questions on that?
Seems straightforward enough.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. I suppose a quick addition to that, because bandits are as uncontrolled and unreliable as they are, the area you're going to be in, we have no idea the level of danger posed by any of the bandits there. So given that you guys are a bit on the greener side, be as delicate and on the down low as you can. Just keep it low profile.
Low profile. I think we can do that.
Good. Okay. Now, onto the other point. If you find civilians or refugees, it's important to realize... Okay, step back once more. He's going to pull from inside of his cloak what looks like a paper tag. It's like 5 inches long, 2 inches across, kind of like a bookmark. And it has rows upon rows of arcane scrolling on it. And he'll do the same thing as before, where he will send a mage hand down for somebody in the party to take it. Okay, so something that is important, because clearly the logic doesn't necessarily work out if we're sending you to the northern side of the continent to go investigate villages, that we would drag you all the way to the southernmost point on the continent before we deploy you. Saphinus has helped us arrange essentially a long-distance magic-powered teleporter gate to send mercenaries to mission locations, and there is a set timer in which the portal that where you arrive will reopen on based off of the spellcaster's input. So for this mission, it will reopen 3 days later in the exact same location you appear in, which is the reason why the location is also usually a good distance travel away from the locations we want you at, just so you don't, end up being in an unsecured location and surrounded by enemies while they also find out where the portal is. So, that's how you're going to be moving around. If you find refugees or civilians, send them to that location and tell them the time period they're on, and then, of course, help them up to that point as necessary. The tag I just handed to you is a in case of emergencies tag. If you tear it, it will automatically open the portal in the exact same position that it was in. As long as you're within about 100 miles of it, give or take, it'll open up in the same location it was appeared in. Will not appear on top of you, but will open up as needed. Ideally, don't use it at all if you don't have to. Wait the time out if there's no rush. But that's how that's going to work. Any questions on that?
Seems pretty clear.
Well, yeah. All right. You guys are on the up and up. Great.
Now, just to make sure, exactly 72 hours after we step through?
Yes. It is from the moment the gate on this side is opened, the clock begins counting down.
And how long does the portal stay open?
It closes shut as soon as the last one of you is through.
Well, hold on.
Okay. Good question. If there's nothing else, he waits another couple heartbeats. Then you're ready to go. You're gonna head all the way up the central lane, and then walk all the way to the eastern side of the camp outside the picket line. And you will see the gate when you get to the furthest side of the east side of the camp. It's very hard to miss. You basically have to wait your turn in line. Tell them, hand them the mission slip that I gave you. They'll know, where you need to go, how long they need to set the portal for, and you'll be on your way as soon as you pass through.
Well, thanks a lot,
Mhm.
and we'll try to keep a low profile.
It is advised. At least
We'll do a
until
good
you've,
job.
Yeah, please do. At least until you've assessed the situation. If you decide it's not worth being low profile, that's your judgment call to make. I'm just advising it because this is the first time I'm sending you all out, and I would hate to, never see you guys return.
We're not going to let you down.
Please don't. There are a lot of people betting against you in the pool, so don't make me look bad.
Well, fuck
So you
'em.
believe in us?
Probably has a better buyout.
She's not wrong. But I just have a good feeling about you lot, that's all.
If I had money, I'd give you some to bet on us.
Well, then, I suppose it's also worth mentioning, just so you remember, anything you find out on the mission, salvage-wise, yours to keep. You can bring it back, have it for yourself, give it to somebody else, sell it to the merchantry, whatever you want to do with it. Again, it's just generally asked that we cooperate in good faith with the war effort. So if it is something that you think would help in the grander scheme of the war effort, give it to somebody important so they can give it to somebody else important. Otherwise, everything else is yours. If there's nothing else, good luck. See you in a couple of days.
All right.
See ya.
Mm-hmm. Next. and you all begin the march, following in the footsteps of a couple dozen others. You walk through the length of the central lane, heading into the craftsman's quarter. And you see all the people still just plinking away at their jobs, mercenaries getting, armor and weapons repaired or sharpened. And you head down the longer side of the lane where it overlooks the rest of the organized mercenaries camp, and you can see some of them in their morning activities. Until eventually you cross the grander part of the camp, and once you move past the sharpened stakes on the outside of the picket, you see that there is a smooth, polished stone dais that's raised. It's about 20 feet in diameter. And on it, it appears to be two kind of curving, swirling, they almost look like trees, like roots and trees growing out of the stone, but they are made of the stone itself. And they curve up and they create an archway. And you can currently see that on the dais next to the portal, next to the archway itself, there is an elven mage bedecked in a long robe with this sort of swirling sea green, gold, and emerald green pattern of leaves and vines, punctuated by these bright pink flowers. And they're currently taking a slip from a group of clearly unaffiliated mercenaries. They turn, they stick their staff into a rut somewhere on the pedestal, and you watch the portal flash to life. And they all march through. And then you watch as the paper disintegrates into little bits of paper and fire and just vanishes onto the air. And like before, you get in line. No one would ever have told you that mercenary work like this is so boring.
Bureaucracy.
But before long, you get to watch as both Viren and Jace are sent through. Very, very prompt. Neither of them really hesitate and cross through the threshold, and the portal snaps shut behind them. And then it isn't long after that you are summoned up by the Elven Mage. Now that you're much closer, you can see that this mage has what you would call sort of the atypical elven beauty, and that they're fairly androgynous. They have this very stark bronze colored skin that stands out in contrast to their ice-colored eyes. But they give you a very polite smile. And they put out a slender hand for the for the slip.
I'm just gonna assume Titan has it because he's the responsible one.
He's the adult, is what you're trying to say.
We're all technically
Titan
adults.
Can have it. Titan can have it if that's what people are after. As I recall, Roz volunteered as the speaker for our group.
Yes, she did. I guess Roz has it.
Wait, he's totally right. Crap.
Well, I'll offer over our mission slip.
Mm-hmm. And the elf will take it. Thank you. Is this your first time going out through a device such as this?
Don't ask me if it's my first time. Yes.
I'll make note of that for the future. Then I'd advise all of you, if this is your first time, movement through great distances with magic such as this can take a toll on your physical body. It is going to feel sudden and rapid. Your muscles might seize. I suggest to do your best to try to relax as much as you can. When you arrive on the other side, given it is your first time, take an opportunity and sit down immediately if it is safe enough to do so, and gather yourself. You might experience a little motion sickness or nausea. Is that understood?
Yep.
Absolutely understood.
Excellent. Then, and they hold up the slip, observe it, stick their staff into the rut and turn it. And you now that you're here, you hear there are a couple of clicking sounds, almost like there are gears turning underneath you, and the portal flares open. bright and blue and green swirling. And on the other side, there's a faint outline of the imagery of where you're arriving, in which you can see tall, towering trees, green, green verdant hills, large kind of rocky, these rocky outcroppings. Seems actually very much like home. We'll see you in 3 days. Good luck.
Thanks.
We'll step through.
Okay, we go through the portal.
Yeah. I
In
was
we
gonna say, I
go.
guess-
I was about to say, if
Audie
anyone
would be
decides
right
to back
behind
out
Lilith.
now, that'd be weird. Okay.
No, I don't think I'll go on the adventure.
And this is when you meet Quinn's real character. But yeah, you will one after the other push your way through the portal. And it is jarring. If anyone's ever taken that first step off of a moving sidewalk, like in an airport, where it's faster, clearly much faster, and you're walking, and then you take that first step off where it kind of jostles you forward back onto, stationary ground. That's kind of what it feels like when you arrive on the other side. You're kind of shunted out. But all of your senses feel slow and sluggish, and suddenly they all come speeding back to you, like being smacked in the back of the head.
Is this different than the one we had with the greenskeeper?
Yes,
No.
very actually.
And different than entering through the rooms at the brothel?
Also, yes. Moving through the brothel, like I said, was like moving through like really thick humidity. This has a connotation of great speed and movement being shortened into a, microsecond. I would like everyone to make a Constitution save for me and see how well you all weather the teleportation for the first time.
Let's go.
15.
7.
13.
15.
21.
Nice. Kind of comically, the only person that actually has an issue is Lilith. All of you come through. You feel some of the after effects. You kind of feel your head swim briefly, but after like a blink or two, your body sort of settles and your eyes, your vision stops swimming. Lilith, you experience all the aforementioned symptoms that you were warned about. You suddenly get very nauseous. You become dizzy. It's hard to keep your balance, and you find a great need that you have to sit down for a second.
She'll take a seat. Bring out her water skin, take a sip.
You all right, kid? Head spinning.
More than my head, I think. Whole world. I think it's stopping. Maybe.
Well, take a moment. I don't think any of us has enough arms to hold your hair when you start throwing up.
Fair. She'll just kind of focus on something
Yep.
and take a few deep breaths.
Wise. And a little bit of time passes. And you find, again, things eventually calm down, just, breathing in and out. While you're gathering yourself, everyone else, as you get your bearings and take a look around, you find yourselves in a small clearing at the bottom of a hill. It's ringed by a couple of trees and some shrubbery and some bushes. Someone either make me a nature or survival check, whichever one of you would prefer.
I'm telling myself that Roz might be good at these, but I don't know.
Roz is actually good at both of these.
Titan got a nat 20 for a total of
Not that good.
26 survival.
Really
Wait,
good.
Hold on. No, we'll go 24 nature. Sorry.
Still really good. Does anyone else want to put their hat in the ring, or are you happy with Titan getting all that info?
Titan's the adult. Titan can do it.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's the adult. Okay, well, Titan, field trip chaperone Titan. You gather some information pretty quickly based off of the trees and the bushes and the environment and the temperature, which, as you guys have all passed through and come on the side, you realize it's much colder here, whiplashing you back to what you're used to at a very nice crisp 0 degrees. It isn't. The humidity is not high enough to warrant snow or rain, but everything has like a nice layer of frost kind of clinging to it. Titan, based off of where you are, you think if you head up the hill immediately, basically you figure out that's due north, and if you were to head up on the hill, you would probably have a good view as to exactly where you are in your surrounding area, given that you weren't exactly told where you were going to be landing, probably because it isn't an exact science.
Right.
But as you scale the hill and take a gander around, one, you find that this is a good position in which to look from. From this elevation, you realize you're a bit higher than a lot of the surrounding area. That the small little nook you were in, you actually think is what the normal elevation of everything else around is. You have this hill that basically acts as a big raised spot. And you can tell about 2 or so hours to the north of you, you can see the wide paved Merchant's Path Highway. To the east, probably 2 weeks on foot, but due to the enormity of it, you can see the familiar perhaps homesickness inducing emerald boughs to your east, just completely smearing all of your vision to that direction, all in its beautiful emerald green. To the south, just opposite of the sort of like kind of earthen bowl you've all found yourselves in, this huge, just absolutely enormous swath of honestly, I think sward is the appropriate word for it. Just this big expanse of waving green grass with an occasional tree dotted into it that goes on for as far as your vision can reasonably see. And to the west, you can see progressively rockier and rockier terrain. The color, all this lush verdant green nature you're in to the west eventually starts giving way to lighter grays and smudges of dark browns, as you can from this position clearly see the transition from the Izel territory into the Utgard territory, at least the one that most travelers would openly recognize because of the stark difference in the actual environment's shift. Well, if it's around now, you're starting to feel better.
Stand up, pat herself down a little bit. All right, I'm good to get going.
Titan will give the group his observations of the land and where we are.
So, do the bandits find us, or do we find them?
I think we're supposed to go find them. We're supposed to investigate. I don't think they're just going to come tell us everything we want to know. Oh, by the way, I'm a criminal, and this is where all my activities are.
What I mean is, I guess What if they see us? Can't just be fighting all the bandits. Be stronger than us.
All right, well, now I'm terrified of that.
Titan, you do know, based off of the rough geography of where you are, given that you can see the border between the countries, you do know there is supposed to be a town within reasonable walking distance of where you are, which is kind of what you think the hope for what this mission was supposed to be about, is checking on the neighboring towns. And since lawlessness is more easily encouraged when there's no law enforcement, seeing how everyone's doing.
All right. Yeah, we'll speak up. Well, I don't think we need to worry about taking on the bandits ourselves. Truthfully, bandits would probably just have scouting parties if we run into anything. Whole groups don't tend to move together. Regardless, we should go to the nearest town, see how they're doing.
All right. Well, can you lead the way?
Yeah, it's this way.
Are we gonna walk into town assuming that the bandits haven't already taken over, though?
If the bandits have taken over, then it means the creatures aren't here. Right?
At the very least, it means they've moved on.
Could be behind the lines then.
Well, we won't know what to expect until we see it for ourselves.
Ryan, we're just travelers, wandering the roads.
Okay. Would everyone be so kind as to give to me either of these two, an athletics check or a constitution check, whichever you prefer. This is just to gauge how well you handle this hike from your position towards the highway.
18.
Very good.
17.
Also very good, both of you.
A 9.
As expected.
24.
Yep. Always one of you.
He's getting blisters. She
Yeah,
wasn't
like,
prepared for this.
Yeah, the terrain is kind of the downhill slope is a bit steep, so you have to be a bit careful. And then the terrain at the bottom of this hill that Titan was using for scouting purposes is very rocky, and there's no there's no traveled path. This isn't a place that people travel through or use for there's no hiking trails or anything groomed of that nature. So it's a little rough. All of you handle it pretty well. The area you lived in was also largely untouched around the village, so this isn't unheard of. But yeah, Adi, this is your first time, and people are keeping a pace. It's like everyone has something to prove. You don't suffer anything for this, but the amount of time it takes for you guys to get to the highway is delayed a little. Takes you the better part of about 3 hours to get right up alongside the tree line that would be right next to the highway itself. When you get there, I would like a round of either perception or investigation checks, whichever any of you prefer. They provide very different information.
Well, Audie's going to do some investigating, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I can
Regardless.
also do some investigating, but it's 14. Ooh.
Calm down, Zhao.
Sorry. I should be sick more often.
Yeah, I know, right? Your average is 20 right now. Like, that's the lowest. That's the lower end.
Jeez.
Wow.
Don't worry, I ruined it. 6 perception.
A 12 investigation?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. I balanced it out as well. I rolled a 2, so a 10 investigation.
Oh. Which is to say, I don't know if you really balanced it out. Like, a lot more people did poorly there. Like, you're the perfect middle ground. And I'm sorry, Titan, what was your number?
14.
14. Okay. No, actually, it's a pretty good upwards curve, honestly. With Corona being in a crazy extreme. Okay. So you guys approach. You begin taking in the information around you. And as I said, you all notice different things. For the perception folks, it's only Corona. Roz, you're looking for bandits and you don't see any, so that's good news. But that seems to be the only thing you can focus on. Corona, however, when you guys get closer to the edge of where the highway kind of slopes up onto the road itself, you begin sort of looking around. And no one seems to immediately notice it, but as you kind of pass your vision over it and you see crossing over the top of the highway, because because you guys aren't quite scaling up to it yet, your vision's just able to like line up with the top of it, but you see over it onto the other side where there's another copse of trees, and you actually notice a type of wood that does not belong to a tree. It looks like something has been shoved there, and it looks like it's been worked wood of some kind.
Interesting.
Titan, and Adi, and then a little bit later is by the time the other two would have really found the relevant information, which is Lilith later. Titan, you're the first to discover a couple of signs along the further length. Like I said, there's this swath of trees here, and in the shrubbery and this thicket, where you guys are moving up, kind of just taking in your environment. But then you realize there's actually something that is unnatural that you see kind of on near the edge of a bush, and you kind of push back and you realize there's a footprint here. It looks pretty old, but you're not sure how long it's been there. But you kind of follow where it leads you, and you end up discovering what is, put quite simply, a very rapidly or hastily dug shallow grave. It is mounded as such to recognize that clearly something has been buried there. At the very least, it looks like a shallow grave. Adi, similarly, you do notice that there's a nick in a nearby tree that looks like an axe or sword blade had connected, and you manage to sort of track your way along to the rough vicinity where Titan is now standing. Lilith, mostly because a lot of other people have gravitated in a similar direction, you find yourself at the pile as well. So, I'll give Corona a priority given the extreme. Corona was very fast and quick to notice things. So what is Corona doing?
Well, I think she'll probably point out as we're walking, because we're kind of pacing ourselves.
Mhm.
We're not trying to rush over there, and she'll just say, she'll kind of point out over there. Pretty sure I see some. It's not trees, but it's like wooden fortifications or something. Not sure what's going on. Maybe the townsfolk got some sort of defenses going on already.
Interesting. We found what's most likely a shallow grave.
If they've already seen action, well, that makes sense.
Is there any like marker on it, or is it just
Nope.
like the mounded dirt?
Just the mound of dirt. And based off of everyone else's investigations, all of you collectively do have enough information to assume that some sort of fight has taken place in the rough vicinity along the highway here.
Okay. Titan looks at everybody. Did we confirm the grave? Anybody got a shovel?
Did anybody buy a shovel?
Why would
you know,
we dig
I was
up a
considering.
grave?
What was that, Audie?
Audie just looks at Titan, absolutely horrified. Just, why would we dig up a grave?
Well,
Hmm.
we need to know what's going on here. These could be weapon caches of the bandits. Could be anything, really. I'd prefer to know for sure.
If it is a grave, it's a shallow grave in the side of the road. I don't think whoever buried them is somebody that cared about them.
Right. I think we probably should look at it, and maybe should check out that worked wood structure out there too. We're here to investigate,
Agreed.
after all. All right. Well, draw straws. Who wants to put their hands in the shallow grave?
Titan just shakes his head and starts digging with his hands.
I was going to
got
volunteer,
it.
but all right.
Don't worry about it.
Is Titan the
I'll
only one
help out.
digging?
No, I'll help
Corona
him.
will.
Lilith will help.
Okay. So can kind of do like the handfuls of dirt until it's clear enough to determine.
Audie's keeping watch.
Respect.
Someone needs to.
Yeah. Hey,
Titan
Otto.
has nice claws. They gotta be good for digging.
Yeah, about to say, yeah, Titan's mitts in particular would be exceptional for digging. Everyone else, you know, human and elf, it's just like meh. By comparison. Yeah, Audie, why don't you make me a perception check? Just so I can have that.
She's really bad at this with a 10.
Okay.
She's
Passable.
trying, but she is still slightly distracted, a little horrified, like,
Mhm.
what are they doing?
Yep. So collaboratively between everyone else, you sweep away dirt, you toss away fistfuls, and it isn't long. It doesn't take you long, like less than 2 minutes, until Titan, your claws scrape over the remains of a skull, a bear skull, not a bear's skull, a no flesh on it skull.
Yeah,
Of a humanoid. Yeah.
Any idea what kind of humanoid?
Nature or medicine check.
Medicine 21.
As expected of the good doctor. Given the distinct lack of unusual features, you think this belonged to a human.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is definitely a human, but the decomposition is pretty extreme. Either somebody really melted them, or this grave has been here a while.
Dirt looked a little fresh, though, didn't it?
Yeah, the grave looked fresh, didn't it?
Your investigation checks couldn't pinpoint a time, but it
Okay.
recently, like
But, like, not
Yeah.
a year.
not
like,
a year, no, not
turned to dirt.
the grave is not old enough to warrant the level that the skull appears to be in. You think,
Yeah.
again, given the 14 was the highest investigation, you think it's on the outside of a month, in which case he should still be, a little fleshy.
Well, it should be
If
quite
gooey.
fleshy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially
This
given that
is
it's winter.
very strange.
Yeah, you'd think that if it was picked clean like this, it'd have been some sort of predator, but predator's not going to hide the bones.
And there's no signs of teeth marks. There's no
Mm-mm.
signs of teeth marks.
Nope. On the skull, at least, there are no obvious signs as to why this person's a skeleton.
Makes that little wooden dwelling a little more suspicious, don't you think?
I do
Yeah.
think.
And if we're gonna get nosy, we should at least have a backup plan in case we do run into someone
Hey, Dyer.
Yep.
I don't think this is something Lilith knows she can do, but I think she's going to ask out loud, just kind of to herself. I wonder what happened to them.
Lilith, give me a D100 dice, please.
Oh boy. $57.
You ask a question. You put it out into the world, and there is not there is no response. There is nothing other than a stiff cold breeze that kind of bellows through the trees.
Okay. And she'll kind of stand up and clap the dirt off her hands.
Well, let's go knocking on doors, shall we?
Are we gonna bury him back up?
Titan's already putting dirt back over the
Okay.
over the body. Yeah, Audie, we're not gonna just leave them.
If we think about it on the way back, we have time. We can maybe give them a bit better of a grave.
Throw some stones over top.
Well, shall we go investigate the wooden anomaly?
Happily.
I feel like it's getting stranger the longer we go without cresting the hill.
Titan says as he cleans dirt from his claws.
All right. You politely, redust the shallow grave with dirt so they're not completely exposed to the elements. And you make your way through the line of trees and brush until you're on the edge of the highway itself. And you can see on the other side the copse of trees that Corona pointed out. As long as none of you have a negative passive perception, which I know none of you do, you can all, with Corona having pointed it out, see, this, as Titan very adequately put it, odd wooden anomaly. It's not solid like a home or a structure. It just seems like a piece of, or like a large chunk of some sort of worked wood that at some point was probably, stuffed into that, copse of trees.
That is odd.
Is there anything we can do to investigate it to know what it might have been
If you get close.
used for?
I said, if you cross the highway to go investigate it.
Is
Yeah,
anyone
of
else
course.
crossing the
Yeah.
highway?
Yes.
Yeah, Titan has not seen any danger or anything that's an immediate threat. He's
No.
happy to cross the highway and start investigating.
Okay. Yeah. You guys will scale up the side of the slope onto the highway, get up top, observe the well-trodden but still well-maintained highway, the merchant's path that is responsible for all of the merchantry heading from the west side of the continent to the east side of the continent, which you suspect will probably see much less use in the coming months. Eventually get to the other side where you kind of slide down the hill a bit into another, thicketed part of trees. And as you kind of push your way through and you get closer, the closer and closer you get, you'll sort of all figure it out as you're within, 15 feet, 10 feet, 5 feet, as you see more and more of it, that you realize what you're looking at appears to be the remains of a side of a carriage. And as for the first peoples to get immediately next to it, the side panel of this carriage that you are observing from a distance that is thoroughly kind of buried into the brush and out of the line of sight is completely charred black.
Oh. Any reason why that carriage should be charged black by anybody have any ideas? Any ideas that aren't fire magic?
A torch?
Yeah, does it
Mm.
look like it was tried to be destroyed?
Does somebody want to fire marshal their way through this? It's an investigation check. Or an arcana
Audie's-
check, even, if you want to cross off of a very specific answer.
I was gonna say, Audie's interested in the investigation side. She's not super versed in Arcana yet. Unless she's the most versed in Arcana so far.
No, probably not.
The inventor in the corner.
An 18 for Arcana.
That's a 14 investigation.
Okay. Well, Ani, you begin investigating it. You work in a general goods store. You know, in order to start a fire, there has to be a couple of things. In order for something to catch and burn well, it usually requires some sort of fuel. And while the wood would eventually catch, you would want something to help it along if your intent was to get rid of it. You look through it, though, but you're taking some time. Titan, you kind of push your way through. You find a chunk of the side of the carriage that is the most devastated, and you kind of just sink your claws into it, and it breaks away like glass. It was exposed to such extreme heat, it basically petrified. And your typical understanding of this is this really couldn't be done through a traditional means like with oil and fire or, you know, a flint box. Yeah. This is definitely done by magic.
This was a flash burn. But yeah. Well, I'm afraid that the best explanation is in fact magical fire.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
On the inside or the outside?
Audie and Titan both. You would know from your checks. It was from the outside. And you think this carriage was probably just kind of rolled off the side of the road.
Almost certainly it was attacked and rolled off to the side.
That might explain the bones.
Yeah, a serious fire would cause enough damage to melt away skin.
Well, seems like bandit activity, doesn't it?
Bandit care to
now that I've seen sort of the flash fire on the cart wagon, whatever it is. Do I think there was a sort of a similar glassy smoothness to the skull?
Yeah, when you think back to it, yeah, you do.
Okay. Yeah. Then yeah. I think we're clearer on what happened. They definitely died in this fire. Question is, though, was it bandits throwing magical spells? Or was this the work of those machines? We saw them use fire magic at Greenwood.
Machine would bury the body.
No, but somebody who came along after might. Still, it's a good point, Audie.
So what's that mean for our town over there?
Well, if it looks like the town walls or gates or houses are horribly burned, we'll want to be cautious.
We heard the stories of Greenwood. About the same then.
there anything else you would all like to take away from this scene?
A bit of a strange question. Does it actually look like the carriage was picked clean, other than it being burned? But it's like, it's just a pile of wood now.
Your 14 didn't find anything. It really was just like the husk of a carriage.
Mm-hmm.
So-
I was gonna say, and sure.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, knowing that we lived in this area, but the players might not know. Well, we lived close-ish and adjacent.
Yeah,
Is there a
couple
common?
weeks.
I was gonna say, is there a common carriage route,
You're on it.
or is it kind of? Oh, no, I guess what I mean is like a business, or are they kind of single hire or personally owned?
Varies. Back during Utgard's existence, back when it was the Dwarven Kingdom and not the Bandit Wildlands now, it was not uncommon for there to be like taxi services in and out of the major Dwarven cities that would take you elsewhere on the continent. Really, the only people that actually hazard this way are people that have enough money to pay mercenaries enough to protect their merchantry and their goods or themselves traveling to the east side of the continent. But clearly not enough to be teleported. Otherwise, passing through the wildlands of Utgard is considered nowadays very dangerous. That's why a lot of trade along that route for Greenwood kind of tapered off in the last 2 decades. Most of you wouldn't really be old enough to have felt that distinction, but you would have heard the adults talk about it.
Lil's gonna climb her way back up onto the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Seems like a
Titan
great
thinks
plan.
he's learned as much as he can from this.
Okay. Well, back up on the road. Common sense would tell you you have 2 directions to go in: west and east. West takes you deeper into the territories of Utgard, which, as have been mentioned many times, is pretty lawless and wild now. Further east, heading towards the eastern side of the continent, towards the center part of Azael, and closer to the Emerald Boughs, where you are all familiar with. There are, from here to the Titan Horns mountain range, in which Greenwood was nestled up against, there are probably some 3 dozen towns along the merchants the merchants path, like just adjacent to it. Again, big continent. And
Would we know where the closest town is?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. About a 2-hour walk. Titan was able to figure that out based off of your position and how close you were to the border.
East or west?
East, heading towards Greenwood, to simplify that.
Okay.
That being said,
Titan.
there is one that is technically closer, heading west, but it takes you directly into the border, where it is more reliably dangerous.
Yeah. Titan recommends east. I think it's better to start in the more regulated areas and move our way to the more lawless ones.
I agree with that.
No objections from me.
Let's
Okay.
get walking then.
You all begin huffing your way east. Are you going to walk along the highway?
Yes.
I imagine that would be easier travel, but I mean more likely for ambushes if there are going to be them. But
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so
probably easier.
yeah, the trade-offs are pretty straightforward. The highway is a straight, flat road, easy, no fuss. It's groomed enough, it's straightforward. Or you would either hike along in the trees and the underbrush off of the sides of the highway, which would slow your progress down a bit, but provides cover.
Oh, but Audie's getting a blister.
It's true.
I mean, I'm sure you all are probably getting blisters. Audie's just feeling it the most.
You could give her a piggyback ride. I'm kidding. As if you don't have enough of a pack to carry.
There is a literal backpack on Roz's back.
Yeah, you all carrying your 100 pounds of gear in your backpacks.
Mm-hmm.
I left some of it at the camp.
For the best.
Yeah, I left a fair amount at the camp.
Yeah, so highway or off-road?
My vote's highway.
Highway.
Yeah, I agree.
We can
Will's
always be
pretty
persuaded.
sure.
Titan would have off-roaded for the additional safety, but if everyone else is just heedlessly walking on the highway, not much use in it.
Lilith's pretty sure if there's going to be bandit activity, it'll be found on the highway. Therefore, the easiest way to investigate would be to walk on the highway.
To walk on the highway and get attacked by the bandits.
Investigation complete.
Well, we found him.
There
Low
was
profile, guys. Low profile.
Yeah, there was never a question if there were bandits. That's not what you're here to investigate.
Yeah.
But also, yes, low profile. I see this is also going to go the same way.
It's not me this time.
It isn't.
I'm
It
not the
isn't been this
problem.
time. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be possible to really do low profile anyway with a dragon eye. Let's be honest.
I think all the cover off on the side of the
Trying
road
to
would
make
disagree.
it my fault already, are we?
Oh, I was just going to
So-
say if we're on the highway, there's no point trying to sneak. We're pretty obvious.
Well, that's why you're not sneaking on the highway. That's the crux of the argument.
The whole point is that we'd be in the woods. Anyway,
Yeah,
no,
but
that's
if,
fine.
yeah,
We're
if,
going down the highway.
If the youngins can't be convinced, you will walk down the highway. As you walk down the highway, would everybody please roll me a 1d20 with no modifiers, please?
17.
6.
Oh,
3.
9.
17.
Oh. I know what these mean.
I'm gonna change the values on you every time.
Oh, great. That's good.
Just so you never know what it is.
It's now specifically the numbers 4 and 13.
Yep, that's gonna happen, and then it'll change. But this time it isn't the case. You begin your walk down the highway, heading east. I fetched some dice. After about an hour, it's quiet, it's cold. There's this biting wind kind of coming in off of the ocean from the north, cresting over the highway and into the sward to the south. You really don't even see much in the way of wildlife. An occasional hawk. But you don't really see anything like in the trees or any deer or anything of that. It seems pretty quiet. You continue along for a ways. When you see on the northern side of the road, there's this sharp, jagged, rocky outcropping that it kind of butts up right against the highway, which clearly was probably deemed much too difficult to remove for the sake of just keeping sight lines all around. But notably, very distinctly, there is a person that is slumped up against the rock, sitting on the highway with their back on this outcropping. And there is a very clear smear of dark red blood behind them and underneath them.
Should we go help, or is that bait?
I mean, if they're dead, they're dead. Off to the side, you were saying?
So it's on the highway.
Oh, so we're gonna be going past them.
So the highway it's wide.
Huh.
It's about 40 feet across. And so like I said, imagine if you're walking on this long rectangle, right? Typically, on both sides of the highway, there's a slope that if you were to step off the highway will take you down by about 5-6 feet into where the rest of the terrain is. Basically, they built up the road and then built it on top of it. Well, there's this huge jetting rocky outcrop that clearly was too difficult to remove by the construction workers, and they didn't have access to someone powerful enough in magic to do it. So it's there. So it's quite literally, if you were walking on the edge of the highway versus there being a slope, there's just a rock wall for a period of time, about 15-20 feet, and it's kind of elevated 25 or 30 feet above the highway. And this person just slumped up against it, not moving.
Does it look like they're actively bleeding still, or does it look like the blood has stopped?
Perception check.
coming out?
I was going to ask if I squint, can I see if there's any movement at all, breathing, anything?
Yeah, perception checks for people that want to squint at the body for information.
11.
18.
11.
Okay, for my squinters, basically for Lilith in particular, because everyone else body, from what you can tell, doesn't seem to be moving. Like there's as far as you could tell, they're dead. Lilith, you've got pretty sharp vision. You shade your eyes, squint in its direction a little better than everyone else. They are slumped. They are dwarven. Appears to be male to the best of your abilities that you can tell based off of like build and facial structure and facial hair. They are garbed in a set of a mixture of like leather and chainmail, but they are definitively not alive. Like the pallor to their skin, there's no way this dwarf is alive.
They look pretty dead to me.
All right.
Wearing armor, though.
If I were going to set up an ambush, I would put someone on the road that travelers would be inclined to stop and investigate. I think we should go off to the side and either bypass or at least not walk directly into the ambush. What do you think, Titan?
I think you're thinking clear. I agree. Probably shouldn't just walk heedlessly down.
Off the path, then?
I think so.
We're the best.
Okay. You guys are step off the southern side of the highway and take a long walk around.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you will.
Blood looking for ambushes.
Yeah. Given everyone else rolled perception, well, most people rolled perception checks, and none of you identified anybody hiding. If the remaining 2 individuals want to roll perception checks to check for ambushes, you may.
Happily. 17.
Pretty good.
15.
Also pretty good. Yeah, as you all are slowly making your way off the highway to the south and keeping, kind of on the slope a little to keep some line of sight, but enough so that way if you dive down, you'll have plenty of cover. You don't see anybody or anything. As you kind of coast around and you're getting kind of perpendicular to the body, Roz, Audie, and Lilith, with your perception checks, you would notice that on the other side of the dwarf, there is clearly a pack. And next to the pack, it looks like a coin purse that has been slashed, and there's silver coins scattered all around next to him.
All right, I see money, and we need that.
And abundantly money.
I'm with
So
Audie
why
on
wouldn't they
this
take
one.
it?
the bandits would probably take the money. This feels even more like a trap than before.
All right. What's the play?
I could try sneaking up.
Honestly,
bait
I
for the
think
bait?
we should ignore it, but keep our eyes peeled. It feels like bait no matter what, but whether it's by bandits or for bandits, who knows?
Yeah, I'm with Corona. I think the best bet is to just keep going.
All right. Cooler heads are going to prevail this time.
As they usually should.
All right. You will all heed cooler heads, both scaled and non, and keep your wide path around the body until what, 200, 300 feet away until you hop back up, well out of any possible ambush range.
Enough that if they want us, they have to run after us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no big deal. Like I said, you take a few minutes, walk down the side of the road, and then eventually, when that jutting rock and the dwarven body with it are just kind of distant figures, you will clamber back up onto the road, having avoided whatever or whoever that was for. And you continue on down the road. It's unusual being back here after your flight from Greenwood. The environment is so much like what you used to know, even though the Emerald Boughs are so far away. It's pretty hard to forget that even though you're probably like a month's travel away from where Greenwood is, it's still so similar. The cold air that is biting but comforting. And after about another hour, you can see in the distance the telltale signs and structures of a town. One that is built up on the northern side of the highway with a from this distance, it doesn't appear to be like a palisade wall. Stone, brick. You can tell there are faint little trails of smoke coming from multiple positions, fireplaces and homes. How would you all like to approach?
Is there anything to give us the impression we should not just directly approach?
I mean, you're still a good distance away. You don't see anybody or anything. Everything else is line of sight wise blocked by the walls surrounding the town. But there are no obvious signs around. The road's not covered in scorch marks. There's the smoke is clearly the kind of smoke that would be coming from fireplaces, not from a house burning down. There aren't, heads on pikes outside the walls or anything like that. Other than the fact that you do know you are in an area that you were warned that there is usually high bandit activity in.
Well, unless someone pulls Roz back, she's just thundering ahead like a total doofus.
Do the roads themselves look like they have activity?
There's no one on the road other than you lot.
Okay.
You haven't passed anybody in the whole time you've been up here for, like I said, the sum of like 2 hours and change.
Well, I say that we take a moment to rough ourselves up a bit. Don't want to look too fresh on the road. Give away what we're doing. Best to look like we've been traveling a while.
You got it.
Audie slings off her bag and drops to the ground and like starts doing dirt angels
Absolutely.
front and back.
I'm gonna grab Audie's ankles and yank her through the dirt so she gets extra.
Yeah.
Ow.
Picks up a hand, throws it at you, Good dirt fight.
Yeah, exactly. We've done this before.
Mm-hmm. Everyone else, are
Titan
you doing
enjoys
this
the
like normal people?
spectacle, but will be a more normal person about it.
Mm-hmm.
Corona's gonna ask, now what do we do if they stop us over and check what we got in our bags and stuff?
Why? What do you have in your bag?
I'm not smuggling any contraband myself, but
Well, neither am I, but I've got weapons.
Well, I don't think it's unreasonable for us to be carrying weapons in a place like this.
Wouldn't it be weirder if we didn't?
All right, I'm just saying. As long as we got our stories straight.
Okay, so you all smear some dirt on yourselves. The Audie and Roz roll around in the dirt like pigs. You come up kind of like Pigpen from Charlie Brown, and verify that none of you are smuggling anything that would be ultra illicit in your bags because you're going through a TSA checkpoint apparently. And you head down the road the remainder of the way, getting closer and closer. As you do, you make note of the fact that the walls are these heavy stone bricks. Imagine kind of like cinder blocks. Large, heavy, very sturdy. The town is completely on the northern side of the highway. As you get closer, you do smell something cooking on the air. Smells good. Smells like stew. You get closer and closer. You see the entryway, the gateway, to which the gates are swung open. With your passive perceptions, you don't hear anything unusual. But then you kind of realize that you're not hearing anything at all. There's no movement inside the town that you can notice. And you're acknowledging this before you cross the threshold in front of the gate. So you're kind of like on the edge of where the wall starts, but you're probably like 60 or 70 feet away from the gate when your passive perceptions finally clue you into the fact that it's weirdly too quiet.
Well, it's trying to keep like an eye on the wall as much as she can see. Does she see anybody patrolling it?
Not that kind of wall.
Okay.
How tall is this wall?
It is about 10 to 12 feet.
Should we take a look real quick before we just walk in? This is a little eerie, quiet.
Is it an investigation or a perception to like see like illusions? Like if this is too perfect, it almost seems magical. And we saw a fireball.
Yeah. Typically speaking, to identify an illusion, it would be an investigation check of whatever you believe to be the illusion. So it would still have to be within a reasonable distance to verify the properties of it that you think would be fake.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you wanted to go make sure this wall is fake, I mean, really the investigation check is you're going to make an investigation check to see if your hand goes through it. More or less. Which for the record, if any of you do just happen to touch the wall real casually, it's solid stone. It's real, for what that's worth.
To make an illusion on this scale, Titan would be far more worried about what we're facing than anything else.
It would require very powerful spellcaster, yeah.
Well outside our abilities.
Or like a whole like concert hall of very low-level spellcasters concentrating on small individual parts to make a big puzzle that forms a town. Which
Regardless, it's
yeah,
much,
I
a
guess
little
it's
much for us
possible.
to handle.
Yeah.
100 wizards casting magic missile all at once. We're dead.
You want
That's
one
how you win the war.
horse-sized magic missile or one magic missile-sized horse? Wait.
What a horse-sized magic missile, please.
it still deals 1d4 plus 1, so
Right.
I think we should be cautious. This is giving off a weird vibe.
Well, if we're long-way traveler as well, maybe we wouldn't know any different. But Audie kind of looks around and agrees. It looks weird.
So what's the
It's
play then?
certainly strange. Well, I think we're here to investigate. It's going to require us to do things that might not always be the most comfortable. But we're here to do a job. So we gotta go in the town and see what's going on.
I was hoping for that. Oh. Then I guess I'll just go in.
okay. Roz, taking the initiative, walks the length of the front wall, heading towards the gate.
Titan's going along as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everyone will follow suit. It's always good to go as a group. You know, not always the best idea to split the party right away. And Roz, as
Keep
you
it in
turn
your
the
out now.
corner, you walk straight into the break screen. Ah. Yeah, because it's a little past 7:30, and that's right around our break time. So we're gonna take a 2-minute break, and we'll be right back. So, see you in a few minutes.
Bye.
Also,
Whee!
Crispy Chloe, thank you
Thank
for the
God I
follow.
realized he's the washer.
Glad to have you here. But we're going on a break, so we'll be back. Feel free to talk in the chat. We'll respond, I promise. And we're back. Thank you for waiting. We are refreshed and have drinks and popcorn for some of us. And we were at the point as Roz was turning to observe the interior of this town from the front gate. Which is, Roz, you're the first one to get there. Everyone else is quickly on your heel behind. And you turn in and look in. Like I said, the town is surrounded by the wall. There's a main street that the gate leads, towards the center of town. To your left and right, there appears to be small homes with their doors facing towards the interior road. There's about 6 or 7 until 6 or 8 until you hit the center of town, where there's a square and a fountain. And on the far side, you can see there's a much larger building. And then from here, you can also tell there's a second-story building to the right. But you don't see a single soul. And as previously mentioned, you also don't hear anybody. There's no sounds of people moving or working, or, as previously mentioned, a distinct lack of sounds from animals as well.
Where's that stew smell coming from?
I mean, somewhere within the town. Probably, if you want to make a perception check to really try to pinpoint it from where you're standing.
It's pretty good. 18.
That is really good. Closer to the center of town. You suspect, like a little northeast, probably that 2-story building.
All right, I'm gonna point out that 2-story building for everyone. I think someone in that building's cooking. I don't see anybody or hear anybody.
Maybe they're all hunkered together.
Just glancing over the town, how many smokestacks do we see that seem to be active?
Roll a perception check.
15.
Pretty good. At a glance, about 10 or so. You think based off of the rough size and like shape of the wall, based on how like deep it went from when you guys were approaching to what the interior of this place looks like, you think there's probably about like 20 or 30 of these homes here, with a couple of like auxiliary buildings and buildings for smiths and workers and craftsmen. Yeah, and it looks like there's probably about like 10 or 12 that look like they have smoke billowing from them. You know, these lazy little wisps of white smoke.
Yeah, it's a bit cold out, but you'd expect to see somebody walking around.
Yeah. All right, well, shall we just go knocking on doors?
Maybe that 2-story building might be an inn.
Go to places I need to check, I guess.
I got a really quick question out of character.
Yeah,
Do we know around what time it is?
that is a great question. Let me actually move the time forward a bit for you, because it has launched at 9. It is about 2:30.
Okay.
Sun in the sky, relatively cloudless, chilly breeze.
Okay. Corona might mutter something about, I wonder if we're walking into some sort of communal Eden place. Especially if this place has been under attack. They might not have that many people, but it's still weird that they don't have anyone protecting the outsides. I say if we're going in and knocking on doors, we might as well be just as cautious as we have been up until now.
All right, well, keep your gun ready and try not to look like a bandit.
Well, that's not going to help anyone.
It might help us not die.
I think Corona's onto something. We should at least check the perimeter of the building before we go in.
I'm happy to follow. Just point the way.
So let's get a tentative marching order. You can walk shoulder to shoulder down this main thoroughfare. I mean, you could walk 4 shoulder to shoulder if you want. So what does the rough grouping look like?
Whoever is at the front, I think Roz is trying to be shoulder to shoulder with them.
Titan is happy to be shoulder to shoulder with Roz.
Yep, same with Corona.
Okay,
Well, we'll be a little bit back from them.
sure.
I was gonna say, I think Audie knows that if it were to come to anything, she's probably better out of arm's reach. So she's back with Lilith.
Yeah, fair. Okay, yeah. So 3 at the front, 2 in the back. Pretty simple.
Yep.
You guys make your way into the town, walking down the main road. The houses are, covered in a very basic whitewash. The doors are all painted various colors. There's a single window at the front of each, but you distinctly notice that all the curtains are drawn. You walk past the first set of houses, the second, the third, and the fourth, and you get right on the edge of the town square. And everything looks pretty normal. Corona, given that you have the highest passive perception out of the front group, you will notice it first, and then kind of trickling down from there to Titan, to Roz, and then the people in the back. When you get into the main, the town square, everything else appears normal. There's a large facility there's a large building on the left, which looks like it probably is a smithy's. The thing directly in front of you looks like a town hall of some sort. It's got 2 big double doors on it, which are currently closed. Large windows that are open and appears to be dark inside. However, to the right of you, where the 2-story building is, there is a sign swinging out the front. And on the front of this wood-paneled building itself, you can see it is currently graffitied. There is a very eclectic painting done on the front of what looks like a knight's helmet with a single glowing orb in the V-slit visor in the front, and surrounded by a big yellow, orange, red flame. And next to it, in streaky, slashy letters, it says "Blaze of Glory." The sign is similarly graffitied, with a much smaller version.
Is this any sort of gang sign I'm familiar with or can recognize? Or
History check for anybody who thinks they they got some relevant bandit gang knowledge.
I mean, Audie asks stories of everyone who comes to Greenwood, so
Yeah.
absolutely.
Is it anybody who feels they might know something? Roll a history check.
13.
Just Audie?
no, I'm checking. 19.
I rolled hoping that it would be low. It was not. It's 13. I wanted some Valmenturi rumors or something.
Titan, what was yours? Did I hear 19?
It was a 19. Hold
19.
on, I need to turn my lights back on. I don't know why I turned them off.
We're cave people, I guess. For those of you that rolled 13s, the name does not come up. Not really, and the symbol doesn't really mean anything. You can tell they're probably related, but none really jump out of your any of your memories or knowledge of or stories told of people traveling through your town. For Titan with the 19, who I'm waiting to be back.
Sorry.
Perfect. Okay. Titan with your 19. Again, you were very busy with your own research and your own projects, and so it's not like you were an investigator or an anthropologist related to the bandit gangs of Utgard. But you do keep your ear to the ground, and you are also known to have a drink from time to time. You've heard a couple of various merchant guards and mercenaries that have passed through Greenwood in the last couple of years talk about a group called the Blaze of Glory. They're essentially a group of bandits. While not all of them are capable of this, they have a propensity to find and recruit those that have a love of fire, and even less so those that have the ability to wield fire magic. Their leader is known to be an absolute lunatic. But they tend to take what they want by force whenever they want it. And more importantly, they are left to the whims of their eccentric leader, who more times than not does not actually burn towns to the ground. They instead make them showpieces. And so you've heard odd stories about things that they've done in the past. Which has included things like melting the flesh off of bodies, turning them into skeletons, and then posing them in their homes, waiting for the next people to come through town to see them. Making paintings or sculptures out of the ash, or dirt or clay of the people who they killed, or nearby forests, and then painting a whole town covered in ash. Similar eccentricities like that.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Titan very much starts swearing and looks at everybody and says, this is a bad one, guys. I was worried when I saw the burnt carriage and the burnt person, but yeah, this is a nasty gang. Nasty gang of bandits.
All right. So should we go inside or not?
Well, If it's them in there, then absolutely not. But if it's not them in there, Titan shrugs.
All right. Then, who feels confident at being able to see anything through carton windows?
I
Nobody?
mean, I can give it a shot, but I don't promise anything. These guys are arsonists. They might be smoking up the whole joint inside.
Well, the only alternative that I have is at least as dark as what we're hearing about these guys. And I don't think anybody just wants to board up all the doors and windows and set fire to the place. So, maybe we should try to figure it out somehow.
We are here to investigate, but I recommend that those of us who stand out, easy to see, we maybe hang back for a bit.
I'm begging your pardon, but have you looked at us?
Yes. I see some people who might be very capable at blending in, hiding,
Yeah,
but
Lilith.
it's not me.
It ain't gonna be me either.
Lilith, do you feel comfortable scouting out this situation for us?
I can do it.
All right. Don't put yourself in any danger. We'll be nearby.
Titan kind of leans over to Corona. Keep your gun ready.
Gotcha.
Once
Titan will
Begin to
also
draw.
load up a crossbow, much as he detests using them.
Fair, understandable.
once the others are kind of ready, Lilith will begin trying to quietly sneak her way over to get a peek inside.
Sure. How are you going to approach? As I've said, it's a town square. The front of the tavern is quite literally right up on the edge of where the road is built. There is a pathway made by the tavern and the nearby house that cuts between, the backside of the house and the side of the tavern. And then there's on the far side where if you wanted to take the really roundabout approach, you could go behind the smithy, go behind town hall, and then come up on the other side of the tavern. Or you could just, sneak up to the front if you would be so bold.
Any windows on the side near the house?
Yeah, there is one.
I think she's gonna go for that option then.
Okay. Sure. Well, let's start with a stealth check.
All right, Rogue, your first stealth check of the game.
Yeah, it couldn't possibly be a 1, right? I can say that. I'm wearing the lucky shirt for 20s.
I mean, technically it's 2 1s before modifiers, so that's a 17.
Okay. Yeah, 17's pretty good. So Lilith, you press yourself up against the back sides of the houses, kind of moving up quietly, low, squeezing down your profile as much as you can. And you move along until you reach the place where the two buildings intersect, and you keep creeping along, now covered on both sides. As you get closer, your passive perception doesn't reveal, again, any particular noise to you, none that jumps out. And when you get up next to the window, and you peer inside, you see that immediately there is a table that is situated right here. Looks like a 2-seater. You can immediately tell to your right, based off of the build of the structure, there's a fireplace right there, which is currently lit and flickering, and giving off a warm orange glow. The length of the tavern's probably about 50 feet. Where it eventually will meet the bar top. There are a bunch of tables. Most of them are empty. save for a larger table in the center that can seat about 8 people, of which you can tell there are 8 chairs and all of them are filled. And there are currently people that are sitting there, but pretty stiffly. Likewise, the table appears to be filled with food and bread and drinks. But other than those 8 very stiff individuals in their seats, there's no one else you can see inside. The door to the kitchen, which is to the right of the bar on the other side of the tavern, appears to be ajar. And the stairs that lead up to the second floor are on the eastern wall. So if you were to go to the end of where you're currently at, the opposite corner, the top of the stairs would be there.
I think she's gonna try to focus in on these people that are sitting. They look stiff. Can she tell if this is like a nervously sitting still at a table for some reason kind of stiff, or a propped up body kind of stiff?
That's a fine question. You can either make a second perception check or an investigation.
I'll do investigation. Natural 20 for a 28.
The shirt works. You know, you're still a good distance away, so the amount of information you can gather is pretty slim, but you can gather enough just from a quiet, calm observation from your position that the people in these chairs are not alive. As a matter of fact, there are enough little details you're noticing that you don't think they're actually people. They look like they might be straw dummies, based off of the occasional piece of, straw sticking out of a piece of clothing here or there. But they seem to be pretty well made, to the point that they're supposed to perhaps fool someone looking through the window.
She'll kind of let out a breath and begin quietly trying to make her way back to the others without anybody seeing her.
Mm-hmm. 17 holds. Before Lilith gets back, where is everyone else roughly arrayed? Are you just kind of waiting at the entrance to the town square where the houses are? Did you step into alleys? What was the tact?
Titan's more or less out in the open, but with his crossbow trained on the door.
Yeah, fair.
Wherever gives us the best sightline, I guess, if that means being in the open.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Audie'd probably step near a house. Like if there's a building nearby, she'd step to it. She'd make sure she wasn't under a window though. Like just a clear board.
Yeah, fair. Well, I've given you a pretty rough and dirty rectangle-shaped map of what the town looks like. Just so you have a better visual representation, with the center square being the town square. If anything, I'll just delete that because it sort of just makes its own shape. There are houses that extend behind and beyond these other structures, but this is the main road you all came in on. Okay.
Titan's right there.
Yeah. In which case, Lilith, you return. All is quiet.
What did your elf eyes see?
I'm taking the hobbit's eyes and go. And we murdered Dire.
It won't be the last time, with that quote specifically.
They have... The tavern is empty except for seated at one table. There's 8 straw dummies, really lifelike straw dummies, just seated there. Made to look like people eating, I guess.
But no people.
I didn't see anybody that was actually a person.
Did Titan share everything that CJ had shared with Titan?
Yeah.
Or just what Titan had said? Okay.
Okay. I
Um,
was thinking that too.
yeah, I was curious. I was like, Audie would kind of look a little puzzled for a bit. Maybe that means that the army got here first, and there were no bodies to pose. All right, Strip. Go up good like tinder.
Well, they were definitely in that building. If there's any sign of where they went, what they were doing here, I think we find it by going inside.
I mean, it smells like stew. You can only cook something for so long.
Right.
Be burnt.
Did you see any alternate entrances?
Remind me, seems like there might have been an entrance in the back, or
From the window you observed, Lilith, you basically saw 3 ways in and out of that room: the front door, the door to the kitchen, and then the stairs that lead up to the 2nd floor. So if there is an entrance to the back, it would lead into the kitchen and then into the the interior dining area. But you don't know for certain.
there's the front door and then the door to kitchen. I don't know if it's like the one in Greenwood. There might be a back door, but I didn't check.
Well, I say we investigate, but do our best not to go through the front entrance.
Upstairs or kitchen, then.
Frogs, let's try the kitchen. I didn't bring my climbing gear.
I did.
Audie
very
kinds of Audie kinds of looks a little bashful. I mean, if I were ever to sneak into a window, usually there's a rope from the top down and not the other way around.
Titan smiles at Audie. That's fair, but I'm not coming through any windows, kid.
All right, so the kitchen door.
Hopefully. I guess we kind of make our way around to see if there's a door at the back.
Okay. I'm assuming you're going to follow like that alley that Lilith went down to spy through the window. It is the most direct path to the back of the tavern.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. You will all head that way. When you sort of turn the corner, there's a somewhat wider alley here, but still like a row of houses, the back sides of them. Yeah, and you see that there is in fact a door on the backside of the tavern here.
Well, then let's try the door.
Who tries the door?
Door,
Lilith will
I'm going
check
through
it
it.
for traps.
Like Titan will try the door.
Oh,
Yeah,
Titan will.
that's fair. You can check for traps. That's fair.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah, shoot.
Investigation?
Yeah.
$23.
You guys are rolling like crazy.
I have
It's the
expertise in it.
shirt.
Yeah. I mean, again, if people, if I accurately updated the character information, if people knew you guys were level 1, they would not believe it based off your rolls tonight.
Lilith is good at finding things and knowing nerdy stuff.
So yeah, you investigate the door, Lilith. And while it is not trapped, you can definitively identify that it has a fairly basic metal lock, but you also managed to identify the fact that it is barred from the other side.
I don't see anything that would trigger, but I'm pretty sure this door is barred. I don't know if we'll be able to get it open without force, even if I pick the lock.
Well, do we go in with force or do we go around to the front?
I look up at Titan.
I think either one is risky. Whichever way you guys want to go. I mean, I can probably bust down this door, but if you think it would be safer or smarter to not make that kind of noise, we can try the front door.
Still try an upstairs window. Hop on a shoulder, jump on a ledge. One of us.
There's stairs leading
myself.
up.
That's
Looking
fine too,
around.
but as I said, I'm not gonna fit through a window. One of you will have to come and get me through a door.
Looking around, any of the upstairs windows open by any chance?
No. But now that you guys have made the full circuit, you can guess, given you haven't been to the northern side of the tavern yet, but there were two windows on the front of on the second story, there were two windows on the back, and there was one on the southern side. So if you guessed that there might be one on the north side, there are 6 windows that you can access to the second floor. And none of the ones you've observed have been open.
All right. We said that we're not going to fit Titan in through a window. We got to go in through the front door or the back door. So,
At least I have to. Like I said, if you guys think you can squeeze through a window, that's fine. But you'll be without me until you can get me in a door.
I think this
Ah.
armor adds literally 60 pounds to me. I'd say
Sounds
flip
like
a coin,
Ross and
but
Titan aren't going through windows.
I'd say flip a coin, but we literally have no money. All right. Well, I'm going in through the back door unless someone tells me otherwise.
Like that right, you might as well go to the front.
All right, then front door.
All right, look, I'll go front door with you, but give me a. Gotta drop most of this stuff off, because otherwise I'm not gonna be able to maneuver any easier than Titan could. And Corona's just gonna like drop her backpack and take out her backup gun and just kind of her ammo and holster what's necessary and just kind of leave the rest of the pack outside.
Okay. In the back?
Yeah, a little bit out of view, but easy enough access that she doesn't have to like do laps to, go and pick it up in case we need to make a hasty retreat.
Yeah, sure.
And she'll be back, probably after like 2 minutes if she hustles it. All right. So did we make it where we're going? Front door?
We're going through a door. We should all stick together.
Front door it is. God, we're gonna feel really stupid if we're doing a full breaching clear and there's nobody in here.
I didn't
Well, we
see
gotta be
anybody.
ready.
I don't think being cautious will ever make me feel stupid.
That'll make me feel stupid. In the door.
So you're-
As we go,
Mhm.
sorry, I was gonna say as we go back to the front, I'm guessing we're passing by a house, right? We're going through an alleyway.
If you go back the way you came, you will pass by 2 homes.
All right. Then can we maybe glance in those windows on our way by? I mean, if we just walked by heedlessly, they probably saw us if there's anyone in there now.
The windows of the homes that you've all passed have their curtains drawn.
Hmm.
That has been an observable, I can in fact state fact of every abode you've seen so far.
Lilith will check the front door for traps once we reach there.
investigation check whenever you're ready.
That is an 18.
An 18, you investigate the front door of the tavern. Has the same sort of simple metal locking mechanism on it. It is not currently engaged, therefore the door is unlocked. It is not barred. However, you're not sure what it's for, because near as you can tell, it doesn't interact with the door or the exterior at all, but there does appear to be some sort of tripwire set on the inside that you think if you were to open the door would trigger it.
She kind of like gets on her hands and knees to look at it, like through, I assume, through the crack in the door, basically. She's kind of like barely able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a tripwire on the other side. She kind of like tests the door just a little bit to see that it does, in fact, open inward.
It does open inward, and when you do that sort of just like that very polite, light physical check, you hear a voice from the inside. You hear someone go, "Help! Help me!"
Looks at everyone. Pretty sure this is trapped. Not really sure how I could disarm it, though, without being inside.
Hurry, quickly!
Does anybody have any magic that can open a door from like a little distance?
Before they come back!
Does that shouting sound like it's coming from the table?
You can't tell. It's coming from inside the tavern.
Okay, but we didn't see anything else, right?
No.
Audie will basically be like, she'll be like, well, don't take the voices too clever. Give me a moment.
Help!
And
help
she'll
me!
she'll dart around the side to where the window was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just double checking my spells. Yeah, okay, solid objects, like glass. And she's like, all right. She's like, my mom's been saying that I can seem to throw my voice. So maybe if these are survivors, maybe I can, maybe they can hear my voice. And she's effectively casting message. Is that you? What you got to say? Who are they? Where'd they come from? Those sorts of messages
Mm-hmm.
to each of the 8 people.
Okay, so you're kind of casting your finger around, inquiring.
Yeah, being like, if she can, these are the creatures, quote unquote creatures, she can see.
Right.
And it doesn't sound like it's coming from upstairs, right? At least
No.
it's in the base.
It sounds like it's coming from the interior of the lower part of the dining area in the tavern. So, Audie, you're at the window, you're doing this. Like the initial response to the first check, you don't get anything. The rest of you, as Audie's doing this, not sure what she's doing, but you're tentatively waiting. You hear again, quickly, hurry! And Audie's checking others. You're still like third, fourth one, not getting any responses. And then you hear, before they come back, quick! You get to the 6th, 7th. Help! Help me! You finish on the 8th, and there's no response from any of them. None of those things appear to be people or creatures that can respond.
And
Quickly,
she'll
hurry!
Look, there's some kind of trap on the door. Can you
Audio
see what it connects to? Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say Audie will probably come sneaking back. Titan would have said that probably while Audie was doing her thing. So, if there was gonna be that interaction, I can hold off a minute.
The Titan would have watched you pointing around. He is familiar with magic, and this is a cantrip that would be relatively obvious to him.
Mm-hmm.
So he would have waited till you're finished, but once you started coming back, he'd call out.
Yeah, and when she gets kind of close, she goes, "It sounds like a music box. It sounds wrote. There's no one in there, at least not at the table.
Before they come
No.
back.
It's the same over and over.
Help me.
All right. So, are we going in through the back door now?
It's
Or are
looking
we
more
gonna
and more
check
like
nearby?
a trap.
Or are we gonna check nearby houses to see if they're waiting for the door to open so they can come ambush us?
Seems like an art piece, honestly.
I get the feeling that
Help
this
me.
is rigged to, I mean, knowing these guys to set a blaze.
That's what I
Burning
was
down the
gonna say.
town isn't really their MO. But posing it.
Quick, hurry.
But if they bait a bunch of good-hearted people into running into the tavern, they burn the people.
That'd be
Before they
quite
come
hilarious,
back.
Nem.
Tripwire could attach to something that would set the place on fire.
Help me.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go bash down the back door. So,
Roz, you do that,
Quick,
and if
hurry.
this building gets set on fire, what are you gonna do about that?
there wasn't a tripwire at the back door.
Not on the outside.
Before they come back.
How loud is this voice, by the way?
Loud. It sounds like someone shouting from the inside.
So anyone in nearby houses would definitely hear it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, adjacent houses. It would be reasonable for them to hear them. For them to hear it, yeah. Help me.
All right. We have to do something. My ideas have been shot down. What do we do?
What are you going to do for it then?
Quick, hurry.
I am not fully ready to shoot down your idea, but I am wondering what you want to learn by entering this place.
Before they come back.
I
I'm not a
see
quiet
two
guy.
options.
They would have heard me.
We either go inside, and if it is a trap, spring it. If not, see what it is that they're leaving for us. Or we look at the nearby buildings to see if they're laying an ambush for us. So we, like before, bypass the ambush by going directly for the people who are. Will you shut up in there?
Help me.
There's an old saying that if an ambuscade, if discovered and promptly surrounded, will repay the intended mischief tenfold. If they're going to ambush us and we
hurry.
find them, shut up! We find them before they ambush us, then
Before they come back.
I'm going to.
Right, not to the killing there, Ross, I promise, yeah?
I am angry at an inanimate object!
Help me.
Let's check the nearby houses.
Quick, hurry.
Alright, fine, nearby house.
Okay, which one? The nearest house?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, basically the closest front door of a home that you can reach is the one that is the home entering into the town square. They have like little 3 steps leading up to the front door. The doors look like of the same make on the tavern with a simple metal lock. There's a single paned 4-segment window to the left of it that is with its curtains drawn.
Did you want to see if this one was trapped too?
Sure. We'll take a look.
Investigation.
Oh, well, it's bound to roll bad eventually. 10 total.
Well, enough to tell you that near as you can tell, it's not trapped, but the door is locked.
Doesn't look trapped to me. It's locked, though. I can try to get it open.
Work your magic.
There's a little kind of timidly pulls out a set of these tools that she purchased
Mm-hmm.
and begins using her ancestors' knowledge on how to use them.
Wait, so I'm supposed to use this one, and this has to go in there. How am I supposed to hold 3 tools at once? But yeah, make a thieves tools check.
24.
Well, you know, your ancestors had a lot of very particular skills, and lockpicking was apparently one of them. It doesn't make a lot of sense initially looking at the tools and then not knowing what the interior of the lock looks like, but there's a certain amount of intuition that you follow that you sort of just feel your way through it. And once you're kind of actually using the tools to manipulate the lock, you realize it's a standard tumbler lock. I know about these. This is pretty straightforward. And you undo the lock with no fuss. And don't explode as a response to that either.
Wonderful. I love not exploding.
Yeah, I figured that was important for you to know.
Lilith will open the door.
Okay. You open the door to the interior. It opens up into a small living space. There's a fireplace that looks like, because all these homes have chimneys, there's a fireplace that is in the center of the room, so it comes up through the top of the roof, and the house is kind of built around it. You're in this living space that is essentially 2 of the rooms on the house, and in the fireplace there is a fire that is going, but it is not wood that is burning. There is instead a ball of fire that is just kind of hovering in the fireplace itself, emitting this light white smoke. There's a couch and a carpet, a table off to the side. It has like 3 or 4 books on it. There's a vase there that once had flowers in it, but are now quite dead. And then there's a door to your left, to the left of the fireplace, that leads into another part of the room, or another part of the home.
Well, that explains why the fires are still going, I guess. Just kind of looking back at everyone else.
Is there anybody in there waiting to kill us?
Judging by the fact that you've not been killed, Lilith, you don't think anyone's in there waiting to kill you. Not in this room.
Don't see anyone. Flowers are long dead. Starting to think that maybe they moved on and just kind of left all this here. She'll step in.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, Lilith, do you want to make me an investigation check?
Always. $22.
Jeez, seriously.
It's her other expertise.
Yeah, just your average is the overall average of all the rolls tonight has been very high. Lilith, you notice a couple of things pretty immediately when you start, seeing what your elven eyes can see, which is one, the furniture in this room was once not as neat as it once was not as neat. It was not as neat as it is now. Once upon a time, you do notice that there were signs of that looks like a fight occurred in this room, but it was cleaned up, and things were kind of put back in the way they were before. Two, the flowers that were in the vase next to the window on the other side are quite dead. Several petals are like along the table where the books are, and have completely dried. And the water inside of it is you can smell a little bit of it. It's fetid. Whatever parts of the flowers remain in the pot just sort of gooped into the water. And the fireplace, when you were kind of just casually sort of inspecting everything, you realize that there is a little core to the center of this ball of fire. And notably, there was no heat emanating from it.
She'll make her way over as she's looking around, kind of hover her hand over, and very quickly, kind of, once she feels that there's no heat, poke at it.
Doesn't burn. Like I said, there's no heat, but it does generate a good bit of light, about your average torch. And yeah, there is a physical core to the center of it.
About how big is it?
It's about like an inch in diameter.
Okay.
Like
Is
a
it like-
marble.
Is it resting on the ground, or is it like floating midair?
No, it's floating midair.
She'll reach out and try to grab it.
And when you do, the fire moves with the little marble you're holding.
She'll try to like use both hands to just like completely smother the entire marble.
Yeah.
See if the fire gets smothered with it.
If you put both hands around the marble, the fire basically vanishes, like in a puff of, the white smoke it's emanating. But then when you peek to check it, wherever you check, the flames and the smoke begin wafting back out. And if you were to just leave it in an open palm, it would reignite to what it was.
Interesting. She's going to look back at whoever else has entered behind her, presumably.
Who dares enter?
Titan's hanging out.
She'll
No.
toss it towards Titan.
Yeah, he'll catch it, look at it. It's some sort of illusion attached to an orb. I could learn more, but you'd have to give me some time. Still, if they have one of these in every house, I wouldn't mind collecting them. Magical essence, comes in handy.
Could be useful.
Question is, why'd this place not have a tripwire?
Well, feels like it'd be inconvenient to trap every single home, right?
You think Greenwood? First place you go is a store, second place goes to tavern. No one just goes to other people's houses.
We'll make her way to that door that was to the left and go to open it.
Okay. You open the door, and it opens up into a long bedroom. In the center of the room is a bed meant for two people, and on the far eastern side of that wall, beyond it, is a smaller bed, probably meant for a child or a gnome, I suppose. There is a dresser and a bureau, and a footlocker at the end of the bed. There's a fine layer of dust here, like someone hasn't been here in a while. The bed is made. Both of the beds are made.
I don't think anyone's been here for a long while now. The entire place is covered in dust. I think whatever moved through this town is probably left. And whatever did it cleaned up after itself.
Well, there's very little doubt in my mind what did it. But yes, this all fits their MO. They would move on.
So then what's the plan? We go into every place, get that magical essence you need, and then port back?
We still got a couple days. We can investigate more. We know at least that bandits have moved through this town.
A half day.
Titan nods.
We might be able to find some sign of a survivor.
Sorry, Audie, you were gonna say something.
I said we got a half day. Not 3 days. Gotta be back by 3 days means half out, half back. If ever needed, I can also just flat out translate for Audie. I'm gonna throw that out there.
I understood perfectly well. Yeah, I mean, we could check another town nearby. I agree with Audie, but I don't think there's time enough for us to go too far. Anything more than a day's travel is too far away.
Hmm.
Get to work going through the houses here then.
Well, that's my plan for now, anyway.
We still don't know the mystery of that stew smell.
Magic. Same as the rest.
If we're gonna investigate the larger building, likely the inn, then I would again stand by my suggestion that we not just barge through the front door.
Back door it is.
And Corona, you see Audie kind of stop and think for a bit. She's tapping her chin. And then she comes up right and close and she goes, "Okay, just think about it then. Imagine her home heart. The thickest stew, happy friends, family sharing stories." And as she's doing it, basically she's casting prestidigitation and using her voice to like plant the memories in your mind
Mhm.
to emit like just like the puff, the smallest scent. I think it's prestidigitation that does that.
Mhm.
It is, yeah.
Give just like that waft of stew, like trying to pull from your mind, like your father's, your mother's, whoever was like that was their prized dish, to your mind, to kind of answer the question.
She's a witch!
Well, we already knew that.
Burn her. Wait.
Wait.
I think I get what you're putting down.
All right, well, let's go investigate some more houses. Or, and he just looks at Roswin. You can kick down a door if you'd like.
I would
On the
love
inn.
to.
You were very eager to just
Alright.
want to do that.
Let's go work off some steam, Roz.
Guess we're going to the inn first.
Yeah, sure. So you guys are going to the inn? All right.
Back door.
Back door? Okay.
I was gonna say, Audie is not going to that inn. She'll walk with them. She's not going inside. She heard it goes boom. She's not
Fair.
interested.
Okay. Well, Audie will join you at the back, but is not going to go inside.
Right. Well, when we get to the back door, I'm going to take out my woodcutting axe and I'm going to start hacking the door to bits.
Yeah, sure. Just roll the attack roll.
The attack roll is 17.
Sufficient. Damage.
The damage is gotta think for a second. I have a fighting style that increases this to a 6.
Oh.
So it's 12 doubled 24.
Huge. Yeah. You shatter that door and the bar locking it in one swing.
Oh, I've been waiting to do that for days.
Yeah, just like with the
I can
boot
just, like-
or the end of the axe head, you could shove the rest of the door out of the way, like no problem.
Titan gives Roz a very respected nod.
And
Not
now
bad,
I'm-
kid.
Well, thanks.
Mhm.
Cutting wood's kind of what I did. And I'm going in.
And she's going in. Yeah, the door shattered now. Enters into a long kitchen. It's about 7 feet across, but it runs the whole length of the tavern. about 60 feet long. Immediately nearby, there's an affixed sink with a pipe that runs into the ground. Immediately to your right, you can see there's a trapdoor on the floor. In between the sink and the trapdoor, there are cupboards filled with dishes and plates and mugs and silverware. Well, not silverware, but plateware. And then in the other direction, which is kind of separated by the door that goes out into the dining space, are several very open shells that have potatoes, onions, things of that nature kind of stacked in crates. Very noticeably, one of the shelves is the only one that has anything left, while the other shelves are completely barren. And then all the way down, there are, long countertops with like tables, and there are like cooking knives on, hanging from hooks on the wall, along with like a prep area you think would be used for butchering either animals or fish or, whatever was brought in.
Right. Well, I'm gonna check out that trapdoor real quick and see if there's anything valuable down there because I could use a drink.
Titan nods. I'm planning to go see what that display at the table is.
Okay. So Roz, you're gonna go to the trapdoor.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ring handle, and if you hoist it up, the door is a bit heavy, but nothing for you. And you can throw it open. And there's a ladder that goes down into a dark cell.
It's a great time to take out a lantern and light it.
Indeed, it is. Yeah, you take out the lantern, light it up. As you're taking that out, preparing it to light it, Titan, going to the door into the dining area.
Yep.
Okay. Titan, you push through the door, and you hear a very distinct snap sound and something running rapidly in another direction. And you hear something fall and crack like glass.
Oh.
And from the fireplace, rapidly spreading across the walls, appears to be a blaze as a fire erupts in the interior of the tavern.
Titan just kind of nods at it. Figures.
Ross!
She's not down the ladder yet, don't worry. She was like just about to turn around to put a boot down, and then Titan opened the door and it'd be very clear what's happening.
Well, back out we go, kids.
Yep. We got our confirmation of exactly what this place is.
Audie's just leaning against the back wall watching everybody file out.
Just waiting for the I told you so.
Oh,
Part of
it's
their
just a
MO,
look.
huh?
Yeah, I mean, you make your way back out.
All right.
Watch very quickly as the entire tavern engulfs, smoke billowing out of the windows as the windows crack and shatter from the rapidly, clearly magical, aggressive inferno that has now begun inside.
Well, east or west?
We'd know this area well enough. Is there a half day's travel to
Yep.
another town
Mhm.
east?
Yep. And for what it's worth, as you're contemplating where you're going, probably moving away from the tavern that is getting hotter and hotter by the minute, you as you guys are somewhere in the town, I won't place you against wherever your desires might want to stick you, but you do eventually hear the initial sounds of like a crack, a loud crack, kind of like gunfire for those of you that are familiar with it. and then suddenly there are these streams of bright, sparkling red colors launching from the tavern and exploding midair. And you realize somewhere on the upper floor, rooms were packed with fireworks. And they explode, and they create the shape of the helmet surrounded by the fire for the blaze of glory.
I don't love that they're so good at showmanship.
Well, I think we've blown the low profile thing now.
Titan nods. Yeah, it was my fault in the end.
Sorry, we did a time check. About what time is about midday?
It is now probably closing in on 3 p.m.
All right.
So, as you distance yourself from the tavern, is there going to be anything else you're going to do in this town?
Until all the houses are on fire or whatever, Titan does want to gather up these marbles that make the fake fire.
Mhm.
So he's checking homes.
Okay.
I need help with that.
I will simplify
Shame
this
to burn
for you.
down an entire inn and not get something out of it.
I'll simplify it for you. None of the houses are trapped. They are all locked, and you could easily break them down, chop the door down, or have Lilith pick them. It would just take a little bit of time, and you can collect all 12 of the continual flame ruby orbs that were planted in the fireplaces. It would take you about an hour to progress your way through all of them.
Okay. I'll just make a note of that for now.
Honestly, probably less, probably half hour. I think it's fair. And you are correct. The fire does begin to slowly spread to neighboring homes as the inferno gets more intense. And I don't know exactly where everyone is positioned, but while you all are, kicking down doors, breaking doors, looting these orbs, at some point, someone, Corona, you first, again, passive perception order, you'll hear it first, which is you'll hear somebody from the front end of town swear, and then you'll hear someone running with pretty much like all abandoned to like stealth or common sense into the center of town. And it's just a string of swears, just son of a bitch, who was dumb enough to set off the trap? God damn it, hang on. And you just hear like someone rummaging through, like you hear a door swung open and a bunch of like things clattering and falling.
She doesn't actually see anyone.
I mean, were you standing watch? I guess is the question.
Yeah, because she's not going in for the orbs, and she probably got her stuff from where she left her backpack, and she's just keeping watch while the doc and Odie are doing their thing.
Okay. I mean, yeah. In which case, you would have briefly seen a figure.
Oh, okay.
Come in through the front gates again, and then rush through the town square, and they would have run into the smithy shop.
Okay. I guess the question is anyone else out there with Corona?
Good question.
Yeah, other than bashing down doors, Ross isn't going in anywhere.
Okay. Then I think what she's going to do is she's going to pass on the info to you. And since you're probably helping with bashing down doors, you're probably close to the dock. So she's going to tell you, I swear I just saw someone. they were swearing about us hitting the traps. We might want to get out of here soon. You might want to tell the doc.
All right, you got it. Psst. Oi, Titan. Someone's
Yeah.
in the town.
Bad or good?
Don't know. They just ran into the smithy.
Corona, from your position, just kind of shadowing whatever's. You start seeing a bunch of stuff get thrown out the front door of the smithy's shop. Like,
Okay.
A couple of backpacks, several satchels, a handful of small crates, books, a bedroll, a camping like cook pot, like just a bunch of belongings are being chucked out into the middle of the town square, and several swears echoing out from the smithy shop.
And she only saw one person, right?
One person.
I think she's gonna pursue.
Okay. What's your approach? What are you doing?
I think she's gonna call out to the guy that she saw,
All right.
presumably the guy, and and she's going to basically I can't shout right now, but you know she's gonna be like,
Yeah, say shout.
hey, what's the big idea? Stop what you're doing and explain.
What's your AC, Corona?
My AC.
Yeah.
I think 16. Yeah.
Okay. You managed to dodge what looks like a smith's hammer that comes flying out of the door. You don't feel like it was
Okay.
thrown at you,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it was
yeah.
definitely it was definitely going to endanger you. But you managed
Okay.
to sidestep out of the way as it comes flying out the door, again, amongst all the other things that are now just kind of sitting and rolling around in the street. And after a second, like, you could tell someone had to take a second to process that someone's talking to them. You just hear a voice from inside. Are you the idiot that went and set the tavern on fire with the clearly obvious trap? And you hear more rummaging. Because
What
if
if
you
I
are, I got choice words for you.
All right, go on and speak them
Well, you're a damn
face to
idiot.
face.
It silences, all the rummaging stops for a second, and then you just hear someone pushing what sounds like a big, heavy piece of wooden furniture or something along a stone floor. And eventually, coming out of the tavern, or rather out of the smithy shop, is a big wooden crate. It's, like 5 feet across, 3 feet tall. Pretty hefty. And behind it is looks like a woman with like sun-kissed skin, freckles, 2 tight braids, one on either side of her head, kind of sandy blonde hair, and she's just giving you this just unpleasant look. She's wearing a breastplate that looks like it's been used. She's got a firearm slung over one shoulder, a brace of daggers on one hip, a short sword on her side, and just 2 huge backpacks slung over either shoulder as she's pushing this out. And she goes, well, here I am, and you're a damn idiot. That's what I have to say to you. Now, would you please get the hell out of the way so I can get my stuff out of the town before it all burns to the ground thanks to your stupidity?
Are you with the blaze of glory?
Do I look like I'm with the blaze of glory?
Does she? Does she have any emblems?
Sure. You can hit me with a perception check real quick.
Sure.
She's got a skull hidden underneath that hair.
Yeah, you missed the face paint that she's wearing.
10.
No, there are no physical emblems she's wearing.
Okay. Well, they're pretty showy so far about letting everyone know. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, she just like shoves the crate past you. Again, swearing. Occasionally, again, most of the swears are pretty common. Other ones, they kind of slip into dwarvish occasionally. And pushes the crate towards like the entrance of the town square, walks back, muttering the whole time, collecting things in armfuls, sticking them in bags and empty satchels that she threw out.
Corona is going to see that she's not a threat, it looks like. And she will holster her weapon and say, uh, if there's anything that it looks like she needs help with, she'll help with it. But it's mostly as an excuse to get up close to her and say, "You mind explaining what the hell's been going on here, then?"
Before I answer that, everyone else.
Yep.
Clearly, Corona's having a confrontation. Roz came
Yep.
in saying someone is coming into the town. Where is everyone else? Like, I know where you are, but like, what are you doing?
I was gonna say Audie was kind of right behind Titan as he was clearing houses.
Mhm.
And so she was basically, when he was looking for the orbs, she was gonna do a cursory glance around for any items. Based on everything we're hearing with Corona, it sounds like it's probably been completely picked clean and rummaged. But
Possibly. You can make an investigation check for the time you've spent with Titan gathering the stones.
sure. Modified 20.
Good. Hey, you're not wrong. It is well picked over. And most of the precious belongings, you don't find even a single silver coin or a bit left in the town. You do, however, though. It looks like it was behind a shelf and underneath, and it looks like it was covered up by something that was like sort of pushed and made ajar underneath the desk. You do happen to find a level 1 healing potion.
I will pocket that.
But now that we're back to the present, Titan.
I mean, Titan was
Roz,
just told that somebody, potentially a dangerous person, is coming into town, so he
Mhm.
would have had gone out to not,
Yeah.
see what's going on, see if Corona, who was keeping watch, needs help.
It's reasonable.
Well, immediately after telling Titan what was up, Roz is running back to the smithy to help out Corona and looking at all these things being pushed out of the smithy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just see a cannonball roll by. And then when you get to the town square, and as each of you trickle in, you see this woman, very grumbly, clearly a bit like just worn around the edges, someone who's been living a somewhat difficult life. This long-barreled firearm slung over her shoulder is also just completely laden with like several satchels and bags that she's hauling around and throwing into like the center street of town to help get herself ready to leave. Well, I was waiting to see where the rest of you all went. Now, are you guys all bandits? Are you going to rob me blind, or are you going to help me take all my stuff outside the town so it doesn't burn down with your stupid mistakes?
We actually came to help, so just tell me what to grab.
Yeah, any of it in the street. Thanks.
Is there anyone else left?
No, this town's been empty for a while. Blaze of Glory passed through, did what they did, left it here. I've been shacked up in the smithy for a little bit, just trying to, survive. What about all y'all?
We got sent to investigate bandit activity.
Oh, well, you came to the right place. There are, thousands of bandits here. You did it. You can go back.
About how long ago did they come through?
I mean, Under Rock here has been, dead for like 3 months.
Do you know about any of the towns that are further east or west?
The next town over is, still have people in it last I saw. The Blaze only, came here, doubled back, some big hubbub amongst the bandits about something.
Big hubbub. What?
I
Do you-
don't know. They got all excited. Went back towards the wildlands. I've been waiting for the next group of them to come out of Utgard so I could ambush them on the road. When I saw you lot pass by.
But you saw us pass by.
Oh yeah. I mean, y'all were really obvious. You were walking along the highway. How did you think I was going to miss y'all?
Do you know anything about the dead dwarf on the road?
Yep, I do.
Is that you?
Well, I didn't kill him, but him being there, yeah, that's my doing.
Right. I feel like you could be a little more specific.
Dead dwarf, side of road. I put him there so that way when bandits coming in from the west go, oh, look, a dead body. Look, belongings. I'm going to take him so I can kill him.
Oh, I was right. Just not as completely right as I thought I was.
Yeah. Honestly, it's good news that y'all don't really look like the standard bandit fare around here, or else I probably would have shot you on sight too.
You want to make it this far?
I'm sorry, little one?
And she kind of like scoots a little closer. Didn't want to make it this far.
What war? You mean the war with the bandits?
And she kind of grimaces and like looks at the group she's with.
All
A
right.
wave of mechanical creatures from the north,
From the...
from Izel,
You mean from the east, then? You gotta check...
northeast.
Gotta
Sorry.
check your maps. No, I mean... There's been no gnomish creations or anything gallivanting around these parts. Bandits... business remnants, mercenary groups... treasure hunters... salvagers...
Right.
Look out,
Listen.
Greenwood.
We came here specifically to help with this bandit menace, or at least to figure out what's going on. You said you were waiting to ambush some of the bandits and kill them, right?
Yep.
So you want some bandits dead?
Yep.
I, for one, would love to see the people who did this to this town pay.
Well, then you could exit out the town and go west for several days and then look for any of these places that have that. And she stops to point at the tavern and then realizes it's, the paintings, the graffiti's no longer there. The ones with the helmet and the fire on it, go find any place with that painted on it and just go kill everyone inside.
All right, well, I was actually hoping that you might help us. In return, we can get you to somewhere safe in a few days.
Well, we're not killing the Blaze of Glory in like 2 days. That's for sure shit. There's about 100 of them, and their bosses, I mean, what kind of psychos would, do that? So imagine that and then extrapolate that into somebody with power enough to do it to pretty much whoever he wants. It's not great. That's why I have an ambush. That's why I set up an ambush. I'm a single person. Any large group of them will probably end up killing me if I wasn't careful.
All right.
Why
Wait.
is the town empty?
Why is the town empty?
Why?
Because they're all dead?
Cause the bandits?
Yeah, the Blaze.
All right.
Yeah, they don't do much to the places that they take over, but the people, well, if you've ever been walking along the highway and you felt the air has been a little thick and it's been slightly too humid for no good reason, it's probably because you're breathing in people. Yeah.
All right. Well,
So how'd you escape their slaughter?
Well, it's because I've been in their wake tracking them, picking them off. Honestly, I really don't have the withal to have this conversation. Can y'all just help me get my stuff outside and so I can organize it so that I can also not be on the road, so we can not be stumbled upon by a bandit patrol so we can figure out what the hell it is you're doing here that's relevant, what I'm doing here that's relevant, and if we can somehow maybe cooperate, as that one suggested.
Yeah, all right,
I
let's
mean,
get your
Titan's
stuff
been
to
moving
Renton.
stuff this whole time.
Good.
That
Alright.
was my assumption. I didn't think we were just standing around having a conversation in the middle
Just
of burning down
yeah,
town.
with the tavern just burning in the background.
Speaking of the stuff we're moving,
That
does it?
wasn't clear. I'm sorry, but
No, that's fair.
Speaking of the stuff that we're moving, does this seem like maybe there's some kind of mercenary the way they're talking about tracking them down, or does this seem like a blacksmith that looped here and then?
You can make an investigation check if you'd like.
Oh, well, it's already past midnight. Use my inspiration.
Yeah. Wise.
Okay, it turned that 1 into a 19, so 27.
You look at all the stuff that's been chucked out in the road, that's been collected and gathered and is being moved out of the town. You look at the person who's either very trusting or is getting ready to kill all of you at any moment's notice because they've been showing their back to you, been moving stuff, just like you've been there and you're helping them and you're just like, ah, yes, friends, great. They look like a mix of both. Their equipment, despite where they are and the environment you think they're in, is incredibly well maintained. And amongst all of the belongings and stuff that have been moved out, there is assuredly several things amongst them that count as smithing tools. Along with the crate that you saw pushed out, has an Utgard stamp on it for a bunch of supplies from a former smithing company called Iron Brand. And if anyone would be so inquire to history check about something dwarven, you're more than welcome to swing.
Absolutely.
I'll do
Audie
that.
had a general good store, man.
Touche.
19.
Modified 20.
11.
Sorry, what was the check? History?
Yeah, history.
25.
Okay. Out of everybody that rolled, so other than Corona and Roz, everyone else, you've heard of Iron Brand, that they were a smithing manufacturing company that was based out in Utgard. They were very successful and very popular amongst mercenaries because they made and mass-produced reliable weapons and armor. In the last 90, 100 years, it's been a while, basically, before Utgard fell, they were moving towards the firearms competition, the arms race, if you will, that was beginning. But failed because the city sank into the ground. So this person has either done some salvaging or thieving themselves, or they either have a background tied to Iron Brand. There's enough here, at least for Lilith's observation, to put together that there could be a tie-in for sure.
Did you work with the Iron Brand when they were around?
And what makes you say that? Because I've taken some of their equipment?
Taken and maintained?
Well, the stuff I've maintained is mine. The Iron Brand stuff, it just happens to be convenient salvage. Why don't you tell me what you used to do for a living?
Barkeep.
That's nice. You want to tell me about your mom and your pa? Yeah?
Well, it does like teenager roll her eyes.
Do you have a lover? Just tell me everything about you. I'd love to know.
This lady's a bitch. I like her.
This seems like the place to have that kind of conversation. No, we should get to know each other if we're going to be killing bandits together. It's only fair. And she'll stick out a very rough, calloused hand. My name's Vanya.
Well, she'll shake her hand.
Vanya has a very strong grip. But that is where we're going to end it. Dun-dun-dun.
Lilith's hand will be crushed by next week.
Yeah. That's where we're done for tonight. So without any niceties, we are finished. We will pick up in the middle of the mission next week. And hopefully Zhao's voice is doing better, although I'm pretty impressed that you were able to contribute quite a bit with your voice tonight.
Yeah, way to hang in there.
Yeah, really. But thank you all for watching. Thank you to Crispy Chloe if you're still hanging here for the follow today and for hanging out with us for a bit. And same time next week, we will follow up on the remainder of Stolen Hope Part 2. And we'll see what we can learn about Vanya and the bandits in the area around here. So we'll see you next week. Night, everybody.
What are we rating?
Bye.
I don't know. But we'll do that in a second, because I'm sorry, I have to run off because I gotta go to the bathroom.
Well, we'll entertain the chat for just a little bit.
Yeah.
We can't finish a stream unless we do a proper send-off. That's how it
That's
works.
We've got to, we can't just, we've got a catchphrase and everything.
Right? We didn't even do a catchphrase.
Wait, play me off, Johnny.
We do very much enjoy having the active hellos in chat. New person each week, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. Cool to have people coming in. We really appreciate it for everyone who's still here. And, you know.
There's supposed to be a Discord server
Yeah, well,
eventually.
We wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want you to make bad choices, so we gotta wait for our
official
catchphrase
send-off.
guy to come back.
Yeah.
Proper send off.
We don't want to look like we're condoning bad choices.
Yeah, I know, right? Be a disaster.
Absolutely ruin the brand.
Ah, I had to check April 1st as a Monday. We can't even make it a joke.
No April Fool's joke this time.
And remember to make bad choices.
Oh, we should look at the calendar though to see if there's a Fool's Day. Man, I'm going to be speaking with this accent for the rest of the night.
I heard that. Yeah.
I'll get talking really fast, and CJ will say, "It's like, oh, is that Audie? Do we hear Audie today?" I'm like, "We do."
It's Audie, but at 150% volume.
Right.
That happens when you practice accents.
I'm going to be in a meeting at work one day, and I'm absolutely going to say something. I just know it.
That was a friend of mine. I run a different D&D game, and I don't stream it. Don't worry about it. But like he doesn't like or doesn't want to do voices, and so like when he's being in character, he plays a tabaxi. So like when he's in character, he'll end his sentences with meow, and he also voice to texts a lot. So there was just one day he was at work and he was like, "So what are you guys doing?" ? Meow, and they were like, "What?"
I know this story.
So you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful when you're practicing things.
I've heard this story before.
Yeah, I know you have. But you told us to entertain them.
No, yeah, thank you.
We shared stories.
Telling dumb stories.
I'm a little embarrassed. Like my bladder was about to explode. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? And you're right.
That was me before the break.
It was pointed out. It was pointed out to me that I didn't even manage to squeeze out the catchphrase before I fled. So like, yeah, I legally can't leave, or else a lot of people can make bad choices.
That'd be on you.
Right.
Yeah, the world might fall into anarchy, and I would feel bad. But that being said, Kay was correct.
I do see the Darling Queen Shark. I don't know if we have any of our other friends online.
I will verify. Let us see. Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to be consistent. We will, we'll raid Queen Shark again, given that Queen Shark's campaign is running this week. If I could type correctly.
Existential Mimic makes party question their life choices. Well, we need to send them some good choices.
that being said, we're going to start at the raid. So as I previously said earlier, as I was choking on my own words to run away, thank you for watching. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you all for playing. And we'll see you the same time next week. And until then, perhaps maybe not as conservatively as the party did today. Make good choices. All right. Well, we'll see you after the raid timer counts down, because I forgot I have to do that first. We just have, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Thanks for hanging out, chat. Love
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. Make good choices. Okay, there we go.
Nice. Proper send off.
We burned down a village.
And no one was living there.
We were very, very careful to make sure that no one was living there.
I mean, one person was living there, but we're gonna take her with us. And if she shoots us in the back, that's our fault.
Mm-hmm.